For avoidance, being in a relationship is a source of stress. For people that are emotionally available, being in a healthy relationship is a source of stress relief. For the emotionally available person, when there is life stress or time of crisis, they lean into their partner as a source of comfort and reprieve from the stress. For the avoidant, however, they lean out. And this is because the relationship is stressful for them to begin with. Yes, they need external validation, and at some level they do long for that love and connection. But the relationship brings pressure for the avoidant, pressure for them to be available for their partner, pressure for them to be emotionally present for their partner, pressure for them to meet the expectations of their partner. And this is stressful. When there's no other life stresses or work stresses, health stresses, or any kind of crisis, the benefit that the avoidant gets, the validation, the attention, the affection, that outweighs the stress. However, when there's a crisis, a health scare, a work issue, maybe an issue with family, well, now that compounds on top of the already pre-existing stress that the avoidant already had just by being in the relationship. So what do they look to do? They look to relieve stress for themselves. Well, can't cut out finances, can't cut out your own personal health, usually can't cut out family. So the most disposable item in their life becomes the relationship. So when stress compounds and life stress is going on and there's a crisis of sorts, it's not uncommon for them to completely blindside their partner, kick them to the curb, discard them, and end the relationship. Once they do that, the avoidant gets a sense of stress relief. It is immediate stress relief. Keep in mind, avoidants were emotionally neglected in childhood. They weren't given the love and the nurturing in the way that they needed, and their feelings were routinely dismissed. They were never shown how to process emotions. They were never shown how to cope with life stress and crises. So they get overwhelmed very easily. They don't have the tools in their tool belt to regulate their emotions and deal with these issues. So they look to relieve stress for themselves. Now, they also generally had parents or caretakers that were very demanding, not in a nurturing way, with high expectations. So having any kind of expectations on them in the relationship is overwhelming to them. They couldn't meet the expectations of their parents or caretakers. So any kind of expectations from their partner feels insurmountable. And when there's time of stress and a crisis, well, there's the expectation that they're going to be there for their partner. There's the expectation that they're going to show up to support their partner. And that adds additional stress on top of the pile of stress that the avoidant is already dealing with. So they look to relieve themselves of stress. So unfortunately, it is not uncommon for them to blindside a partner when there's some sort of life event, a health scare, financial issues, losing a job, losing a parent, having some sort of death in the family. And then you look to lean into your partner, and then instead of having them for support, they completely kick you to the curb, blindside you, and give you vague excuses that they can't give you what you need, and they just need time and space, and they're just not ready for a relationship. It can be absolutely soul-crushing and devastating. But it's a reflection of this person and their attachment wounds, their insecurities, their inability to cope with life stress, their inability to handle any kind of crisis. It's also a reflection of their character because it is absolutely a choice. When they are discarding a partner, when there is some sort of stressful event, they're only thinking of themselves. They're only thinking of how to soothe themselves, to relieve stress for themselves. They are not considering how this impacts the other person. They're not considering the absolute pain, heartbreak, and blindsiding, absolute soul-crushing self-esteem blow that the other person is going to receive from this kind of discard during a time of crisis. Emotional availability, well, one of the core components of it is the ability and willingness to empathize with your partner, to care about their feelings, to feel their emotions along with them. That is not an emotionally available thing to do, to blindside someone during a stressful time. They're only thinking of themselves. And yes, it is selfish, but it's selfishness that's driven from insecurity and a lack of ability to cope and handle with emotions and stressful events. It's not a reflection of you, and you wouldn't have done it to them, so you definitely didn't deserve it happening to you.